Hey, it's a quick book review today on A Symphony of Echoes by Jodie Taylor. This is the second book in the St. Mary's Chronicles, which starts with just one damn thing after another. I'm going to first off say, if you haven't read the first one, don't bother picking up this one. Go and read the first one first, because this is very much a continuation of the series. It's more character development and follows on from key events from the first book. So you really need to know what's going on before you just dive into this one. I will say this is billed as a bit of Victorian London Jack the Ripper to start off with. Yeah, it starts off there, but that's not the main thrust of this book. This book deals with a lot of different historical events going on that have more effect on the main storyline that's going throughout the series, and helps our character deal with certain events that are going on and various forms of trauma as well that obviously these historians have to deal with, seeing events in the past. I would say I really enjoyed this book. It certainly developed Max as a character even more than what we already know, and it gives us a little bit more insight into who she is as a person and how she deals with things. The drawback to this is there is no logical explanation of the amount of time passing throughout these books. As far as I'm aware, she's been at St. Mary's at about 5 years at this point, but that's briefly mentioned, so you really sort of have to keep your head on what's going on. And not all the time jumps are explicitly dated, which can make some plot elements a little bit interesting to try and hold into your head and decide when is this actually happening. There are certain characters that also don't come from the chronological timeline, so you have to sort of hold on where they've come from in various points of time. What I will say about A Symphony of Echoes, it's a very good follow-up, it's very good build on the first book, and I really enjoyed it. I'm certainly liking Max. She's quirky, she's witty, she's extremely sarcastic, and she's quite a damaged person who doesn't deal with emotional things very well, and it's quite refreshing to see someone who can just sort of clam up and say, nope, I'm not doing this, this is how I'm going to cope with it, and deal with it, people. The one drawback to this is the romance element. These people really should have sat down to talk to each other by now about certain things going on between them, certainly where they are going in their relationship. And it's just slightly frustrating to see them making the same mistakes from the first book. So I'm kind of hoping that's going to be resolved in the third one, because things cannot go on as they are. These guys have to sit down and talk through some big issues. And they need to stop being jerks to each other, to be honest. You know, that's not how you treat someone you care intensely about. I would give you a heads up, if you're expecting this series to be a time travel adventure romp, one, the author herself says these are not time travel books. They are disaster-prone historians observing historical events in contemporary time. Her words, not mine. So the time travel aspect is not a big deal. And if anything, the historical events that happen in these books are merely little stories in themselves. There are little events that happen and our characters have to deal with them. And sometimes the characters have emotional fallout from those events, or those historical events have their own fallout thrust upon the St. Mary's team. So if you're expecting a book about Jack the Ripper and his murders and solving that, you're not getting that in this book. This book is not a Jack the Ripper story. This book is a story about St. Mary's. So yes, they give you highlights of where they're going to go in history, but that's not the main point of these books, which is pretty cool actually, just to say, right, we're going to open a window on this historical event, that's what we're going to observe, but we're going to go back to our main story now because of X, Y, Z. So I quite enjoy that. If you want a big historical book, I'm going to point to my Outlanders behind me. Time travel aspect, set in one time period and dealing with that time period. That's not what St. Mary's is. And so it's quite nice to have something different to be reading on my shelves. I really, really like these books. They read very much like Douglas Adams's Dirk Gently duology, for those of you that read that. They're slightly quirky, offbeat. They can go from really dark to really funny in almost a paragraph. They can do that, and I quite like the way that the dark stuff is balanced by the light and the humour and the sarcasm going on between a lot of our characters. I mean, obviously, the historians at St. Mary's, they have a short lifespan. They have a history of not making it. And so it's very much sort of the black humour from the war films and books of sort of that time period, where you're sort of there having a pop at the world, knowing that you're not long for it. The next mission could be your last mission, so you're just going to enjoy life as much as you can. That's very much the feel of these books. They have that quirk and sarcasm and black humour running through them, and I really like that. But if that's not your cup of tea, I would still say give these a go, because they're really entertaining books, and Max is a very complicated character who has a lot of things that she has to deal with, and it's quite interesting seeing everything from her point of view and getting to know other people through her and her prejudices. It's very interesting reading her voice. So, Jodie Taylor's Symphony of Echoes, Book 2 of the St. Mary's Chronicles. Have you read it? If you have, let me know what you think down below. If not, go and try the first one, just one damn thing after another. I do like the fact these are lovely republished editions, so they all match. The whole series is going to match. It's going to look great on my shelf. Well, I'm really chuffed about that, so I've got to pick them up before they decide to republish them again. Thank you very much for watching. Please, as always, find me on social media. All my links are down below in the description box. If you'd like to like this video, you know where the thumb is down below. And please subscribe to my channel. It'd be lovely to meet and connect with some more booktubers out there. If you have a blog that you would like me to go and look at, leave a link down below. What I'm planning to do in future videos is actually highlight a book blogger's blog for a particular video and leave the link down below for people to go and visit. I'm trying to build up bigger links between the booktube community and the book blogging community, because they do seem to be quite separate, and actually it'd be nice to bring the two together because we're all book lovers. Thank you very much for watching, and happy reading, everyone. Bye!